Welcome to Audiobook 365 Stories.
Worry is a kind feeling, and anyone who looked at Charles Holland's face, now that he was sitting with Henry Bannerworth, waiting to hear something his fears told him would destroy all his hopes, would barely recognize him as the same young man who, just 1 hour ago, had knocked so happily and excitedly on the door of the house. But it was true. He knew Henry Bannerworth too well to think that something unimportant could make him so pale. He knew Flora too well to believe that she had asked him to leave her for no reason. It would have been better for Charles Holland if Flora had pushed him away for no real reason. If he had thought she was not good enough for his love, his pride would have helped him feel better. He would have felt angry that she played with his feelings, and that anger would have helped him. But sadly, the situation was very different. It was true. She had asked him to stop thinking about her and to stop loving her. But the way she said it made Charles feel sure that she was sacrificing her own feelings for him because of something serious that she could not explain. But now he was going to hear the whole story. Henry had promised to tell him, and as Charles looked at Henry's pale but smart face, he felt both fear and eagerness to hear the truth. "Tell me everything, Henry. Tell me everything," Charles said. "I know I can trust your words. I will hide nothing from you," said Henry sadly. "You need to know everything, and you will. Get ready for the strangest thing you've ever heard." "Really?" "Yes, it is something you may not believe when you hear it. And I hope you never get the chance to prove it is true. You are talking in puzzles. But I am telling the truth, Charles. You heard how desperately Flora asked you to stop thinking about her." I did. She was right. She is a very good person for saying that. Something terrible has happened to our family, and it might make you think twice about joining your life with ours. That's impossible. Nothing can change my love for Flora. She deserves the best, and through all troubles and changes, she will be mine. Don't think it's because of a change in our fortune. Then what is it? I will tell you, Holland. In all your travels and reading, have you ever learned about vampires? "About what?" cried Charles, moving his chair closer. "About what? You probably can't believe what you just heard, Charles Holland, and you might want me to say it again. I'm asking if you know anything about vampires." Charles looked curiously at Henry's face, and Henry quickly added, "I can guess what you are thinking now, and I don't blame you. You think I must be crazy. Well, Henry, your strange question. I knew it. If I were you, I wouldn't believe this story either. But the truth is, we have every reason to think that one member of our family is one of those horrible creatures called vampires." "Good heavens, Henry! How can you even think such a thing?" asked Charles. "That's what I've asked myself many times. But, Charles Holland, sometimes we have to believe what we see with our own eyes, even if it goes against everything we know. Listen to me and don't interrupt. You need to hear everything, and I will tell you every detail." Henry then told the shocked Charles Holland everything that had happened, starting from the first time Flora was scared, up until the moment when Charles caught her in his arms as she was about to leave the room. "And now," Henry finished, "I don't know what you will think about these strange events. Remember, 4 or 5 people saw what happened, and even the servants saw some of the terrible visitor." "You're confusing me completely," said Charles. "We're all confused. But, good heavens, it can't be true." "It is. No, there must be some horrible mistake. Can you think of any other explanation for what I've told you? If you can, please tell me, and I will gladly believe it. Any other strange thing might be open for discussion, but this is too impossible for me to believe. It doesn't match anything we know about the world." "That's true. We've said that to ourselves many times. But all our reasoning stops when we say just a few words. We have seen it. I would doubt my own eyes. One person might be mistaken, but many people cannot all be wrong. My friend, please, don't make me feel scared by saying such a terrible thing could be true. Believe me, Charles, I don't want to trouble anyone with this. But you are close to us, so you need to know. You must understand that you are now free from any promises you made to Flora." No, I swear no." "Yes, Charles. Think about what it would mean to marry into our family now." "Oh, Henry Bannerworth, how can you think I would be so heartless, so dishonorable, to throw away the one I love because of this? You would be justified. I might be justified, but that doesn't mean it's right. There are many situations where a person can be justified in doing something, but it's still not honorable or fair. I love Flora, and even if all the supernatural creatures in the world were after her, I would still love her. In fact, it becomes my duty to protect her from these evils, if I can." Charles, said Henry, "I can't help but admire your kindness and generosity. But, remember, if we are forced to believe in the existence of vampires, even though we don't want to, why shouldn't we also believe everything that is said about them?" "What do you mean?" asked Charles. "I mean this. Someone who has been bitten by a vampire and whose blood has been taken by it becomes a vampire after death. Then they come back and bite others." "That must be madness," cried Charles. "It certainly seems like madness," said Henry. "Oh, how I wish you could prove that I am crazy. There could be madness in this family," thought Charles, feeling such a deep pain that he groaned. "Already," Henry added sadly, "already the terrible story is affecting you, Charles. Let me add my advice to Flora's request. She loves you, and we all respect you. Run away from us, and leave us to face our troubles alone. Leave Charles Holland, and take with you our best wishes for happiness, which you can't find here." "Never," cried Charles. "I will dedicate my life to Flora. I won't be a coward and run away from the one I love because of this. I will devote my life to her." Henry was so emotional that he couldn't speak for several minutes. Finally, in a shaky voice, he said, "Oh God, How much happiness is ruined by these terrible events? What did we do to deserve such a horrible punishment? Henry, don't talk like that, cried Charles. Let's focus on defeating this evil, instead of wasting time feeling sad. I still cannot believe that a creature like the one you say visited Flora really exists. But the evidence. Listen, Henry, until I'm convinced that some things have happened that couldn't possibly happen in any human way, I won't believe they are supernatural. But what human explanation could there be for what I've told you? I don't know right now, but I will think very carefully about it. Can I stay here for a while? You know you are as welcome here as if this house were your own, and everything in it too. I truly believe that. You won't mind if I talk to Flora about this strange subject? Of course not. Just be careful not to say anything that might scare her more. I will be very careful, I promise. You said that your brother George, Mr. Chillingworth, you, and Mr. Marchdale have all been involved in this. Yes, yes. Then, you don't mind if I talk to all of them about it? Of course not. I will do that then. Stay strong, Henry. This situation, which seems so terrifying now, might not be as bad as it looks. I'm happy to hear you say that, said Henry. If anything can make me happy now, it's seeing you think about this with such calmness. Well, said Charles, you said something earlier that gave me hope, even when looking at the situation in the worst way. What did I say? You said that if we ever felt there was enough evidence to believe in vampires, we might as well believe all the common ideas and superstitions about them. I did. Where do we stop once we start believing in such things? Exactly. If that's the case, we'll watch for this vampire and catch it. Catch it? Asked Henry, surprised. Yes, surely it can be caught. From what I understand, a vampire is not like a ghost made of air that we can't touch. It's a body that has come back to life. Yes, that's true. Then it can be touched and destroyed. By heaven, if I ever see such a creature, I will follow it to its home, wherever that may be, or I will catch it. Oh, Charles, you don't understand the horror you will feel when you do. You have no idea how your blood will feel cold in your veins, and how your body will freeze in fear. Did you feel that way? I did. I will try to fight those feelings. My love for Flora will give me the strength to overcome them. Do you think it will come again tomorrow? I don't know what to think, said Henry. It might come again. We need to make a plan, Henry. We need to take turns watching so that we don't get too tired or weak. But there should always be someone awake and ready. Yes, we have to do that, agreed Henry. Flora should sleep knowing that there is always someone near her. Someone brave, with weapons, ready to protect her and warn us all if anything happens. It would be terrible to catch a vampire, said Henry. Not at all. It would be a good thing. Since it's a dead body brought back to life, we could destroy it, so it doesn't hurt anyone again. Charles, are you joking? Or do you really believe this vampire story? My friend, I always expect the worst so I can be ready. I will think about this like the vampire is real, and then plan what we should do about it. You're right, said Henry. If it turns out that there's no vampire, that's great. But if there is one, we will be prepared. Let's do that, agreed Henry. I think you will be the calmest of us all, Charles. But it's getting late now. I'll have a room prepared for you. After everything that happened tonight, I don't think we have anything to fear. Maybe not, said Charles. But, Henry, if you don't mind, I'd like to sleep in the room with the portrait of the man you think is the vampire. You want to sleep in that room? Asked Henry, surprised. Yes, I'm not looking for danger, but I think it's a good idea. If the vampire likes that room, maybe it will visit me. As you wish, Charles. You can have the room. It's still the same as when Flora stayed there. Nothing has been moved. So, I can call it my room while I'm here? Of course, said Henry. This plan surprised everyone in the house. No one would sleep in that room even for a big reward. But Charles had his reasons. After about half an hour, Henry took him to the room. Henry looked around the room and shivered as he said good night to his young friend.